Sofa with Esther. Every Sunday, a place where legends and stars hang out, sharing untold stories and unforgettable moments. So get cozy and relax into inspiring conversations that you won't hear anywhere else.
Today on the sofa with Esther is Ben Stevens, actor, producer, author, presenter, best known for his role in the hit series The Family Business and now starring in The Family Business New Orleans. The Family Business is a compelling American crime family drama that explores power, loyalty, and legacy within a complex underworld, and Ben's role sits right at the heart of that story. Ben also brings to life the compelling character Curtis Duncan in his latest book, Curtis Duncan, Bounty Hunter, a gripping American action crime thriller diving deep into power, loyalty, and legacy within the high-stakes underworld with Ben's character right at the center. And also, he is the host of his own radio show, The Velvet Lounge, playing 90s R&B slow jams live on Memphis, is it Power 104.1 FM every Saturday, and on the UK Indie Soul every Wednesday. Welcome, Ben. Welcome.
Hey, I'm on the sofa. I'm on
You
the
are
sofa.
on the sofa. Fantastic. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. And I guess I should say, where do I start? But I like to ask my guest, Ben, who
hmm
is Ben in a nutshell, in a peanut shell? And you look like a crab shell. Who is Ben in that shell?
Ben is first of all a Christian. Love the Lord. A husband and a father, you
Nice.
know, and that's pretty much it. That's just me in a nutshell, you know what I'm saying? And so
Mm.
love what I do. Love the entertainment industry. But yeah, I'm just me, you know what I mean?
Okay, but we're going to start to unpeel that meat or that nutshell, whichever one you want to call it. And so Ben, you've been in the entertainment industry for quite a while. You started
Right.
off, I would say, formatively in Malaysia, um, and you were in one of my favorite shows, Fraser.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that
It's
show.
funny, I had one line in Frasier, but I was excited about that one line.
But there's something I was watching an interview that you did, and even with that one line, you
Mhm.
spoke about what was it that you said? It may be one line, but it puts you on the rung, it puts you on the ladder to something big
Yeah,
and better.
yeah. In Hollywood, it's like, they're not small roles, right? They're
That's
stepping.
right.
It's no small roles in
Absolutely.
Hollywood. It's only stepping stones. So this one line can get you to your next role, and then your next role gets you to your next role, you
Mhm.
know. So I like to say it's no small roles in Hollywood. You start with start,
Absolutely.
and you know, your next role, it gets you, that small role can get you to a much bigger role.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
the Bible says don't despise small beginnings. So
absolutely. And I think it's not just for Hollywood. I think it's for anything generally. You've got to put one foot in front of the next and keep going. And you've got your
yeah.
faith, you've got your belief, but also there's something when you speak as well, Ben. I can tell that you really enjoy what you do. Um,
hmm
and so, from your formative years to where you are now, because that small step has led you to this incredible place that you're
Yeah.
now. I mean, what have you learned or discovered about yourself as a person, um, as you've taken on the role of Curtis Duncan in the family business?
That's a pretty good question. What have I discovered about myself taking on this role?
Yes.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm trying to think, and I don't know. Um,
I mean, does his character, because I mean, he can be a bit of a bad boy.
yeah,
Um,
we we're a little different, you know what
mm,
I'm saying? But we're similar in some ways as well.
because you're protective as well, isn't it? Within, I mean, I guess it's all about perception because being the bad boy, he's also got that protective role, but also he likes to just show up, muscle and
yeah,
all that.
yeah.
So,
I think he's, he's really about his family, right?
mm,
And so we're similar in that ways, Curtis will, Curtis will shoot you, you know what I'm saying? Ben unless you know what I'm saying, I ain't thinking about shooting nobody, but Curtis would do it off the top, you know what I mean? If you messing with his family like that.
yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, we're similar in some ways, in some ways we're pretty different, you know.
Mm, mm,
But I feel like, you have to have some kind of similarities to your character to make it authentic, you
mm,
know, um, and have it come across as real on screen, So
absolutely.
you can have uh, some similarities, but not, you could be different, but it is going to be some similarities that you could pull from your personal self, uh,
Mm,
add to your character. Mm.
okay, okay. And for you stepping into this role initially, what was
Mm.
that like? What was that transitioning like, Ben?
Yeah, yeah, because I was a producer on the show at first, Actually I took a long hiatus away from the entertainment industry, just kind of raise my kids and make sure they were straight. And then I got back in it when I was older. But when I came back, I was a producer. Um, but um, I wanted to get into, I've always was an actor as well. So
Hmm.
when the role came about, it was, it was an easy fix. I think it was a little intimidating for me a little bit, just being away from acting for a minute, right? And you get thrown into this situation where you on screen with, you know, Ernie Hudson and Valerie
Mm,
Battlefoot and, you know, Darren Henson and, Javicia. And so like you get it's a little intimidating, but once you get back into the mix, it falls back in place. But yeah, it was at first, I was like, wow, I'm on the screen with Ernie. But you
brilliant.
got to kind of let it go, and you got to do the work.
You've got to
So
step into it, as they say.
yeah,
You've got to show up, right?
got to show
Um,
up.
because I've interviewed so many legends and pioneers in music, and one thing
Hmm.
they always say, in the entertainment world, there's this thing that you've just got to show up. You just got to step on
Yeah,
and just show up. It doesn't matter what's going on, you show up, and then you've got
show up.
support around you that would take you to the next level. And
Yeah.
and so, what you've also done as an author, because you're an actor, but then you've
Mhm.
also translated your role as Curtis Duncan into being an author. And I've watched a couple of your interviews, and there's something that lights up within you even more when you talk about being an author, because I think you said you had a couple of other books that you're bringing out this year as
Yeah.
well. Tell us a
Yeah.
bit about Curtis Duncan, the
Mhm.
Bounty Hunter, the book. What is
The
that
book.
about, and what was the process doing putting that together for you?
Well, I started writing a book when we were shooting New Orleans.
Mm,
So and it was crazy because I was like, our cast and has we're so stacked with our cast, right? And so many
mm,
incredible, wonderful storylines that your character can kind of get lost in the mix when you start shooting the show.
mm,
And so one of the reasons why I actually wrote the book is because I thought Curtis had a really, really compelling story, right?
mm,
Um, but no one knew what it was, right? He was kind of sort of new to the Duncan family. You know who Curtis was, but you don't know his backstory. And
story.
that was something that I wanted to, share with the fans is that, you look at Curtis and, all of his, his siblings, and his cousins all went to this finishing school,
Mm,
but Curtis didn't go. So why Curtis didn't go to the finishing school? Well, a lot of people don't know that Nene, his mom, had breast cancer, you know.
okay.
So that's his backstory. His dad was admitted into Fresh Meadows, the psych ward, when he was like 15, 16 years old. So he had to kind of grow up fast, right?
Yeah.
And so he had to take care of the family. And then his mom had breast cancer. And so You know, he had to take care, make sure that his mom was good, but he had to also make sure that his younger siblings was good as well. You know, and so that's how actually Curtis learned how to cook.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of his backstory, but people never knew. They just seen him in the kitchen, right?
Mhm.
They just seen him cooking with his mom and him being a mama's boy, but you got to understand why he was like that. And so I wanted to share that as well. But in the book, Curtis is he's been called to Washington, D.C. to um, capture a Haitian crime boss named Johnny
Mhm.
Boy. And while he's there, he gets tangled into a web of dirty politics that he has to, navigate his way out of, but also capture the bounty. So it's a really good, interesting, um, compelling book.
Mm. And I guess a lot of people would say that on some level within the place in there, they can recognize some of those experiences in their own lives. And I
Mm,
guess, when we show up as, like I said before, when, he may be perceived as a bad boy, but like when you start to strip back the layers, you realize just within different contexts or different situations,
right.
it's all him, but he's had to be different people in those different places, and he shows up differently. So I can really get a bit deep sometimes. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
But no, yeah, that's something that the fans don't get on the show, right?
mm,
So you kind of be able to explain it in the book. We do have a book called the Curtis Duncan origin story. So you learn, how he learned how to fight by
mm,
his dad before he went to Fresh Meadows. You learn um, how he learned how to cook. You actually learn how he actually becomes a bounty hunter, you
mm,
know, in those origin stories. But you just see Curtis, but you don't know his story. But once you start to, like you're saying, peel back the layers and you really get to see who he is on a more, personal level, then you kind of can understand why he does certain stuff.
he does, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. He
that's
has,
very,
Curtis has trust issues, you know what I mean? But it came from something, you know what I'm saying? Like you look at Nefertiti, like she, on the book, I don't know if a lot of people know Curtis and Nefertiti was an item.
mm,
They were together, like they had a serious relationship. She went to the
mhm.
fellowship school. She slept with Orlando, right? And so that's the beef between Curtis and Orlando. That's why they don't get along.
So this is a
But
this is a good sell for people to go out and get the book.
yeah,
Go out and get the book. You're not going to give away anything else.
yeah.
But you go out and get, because it came
But
out
that's
in
in the story.
January.
That's in the story.
That's
That's in the show.
Mm.
So
But then you're just adding, more, there's more in the book, the backstories
yeah,
in the book. So, and the book came out this year. So we want to encourage all those fans of the family business to just go and get the book. I'm not going to let Ben talk anymore about that, wink, wink.
yeah. Go get the book.
But that's right. And so, Ben, you're also, because there is so much more to you, and it's really nice that you were able to sort of utilize your character to build out from him. So
Yeah.
where does the Velvet Lounge now come into
You
all of
know,
this? I
man. You know what's
love
funny?
it.
Okay, so I went to Memphis right recently, and the first time we went, I met a guy named Kavanje. He was the DJ there when we went with Carl. We went on a book tour with Carl. And he was like, hey, man, next time you in Memphis, hit me up, bro. And so I said, all right. So I knew I had to go to Memphis. And I
Mm,
knew I needed to, promote this book. And he's on the radio. So I hit him up. I said, Kavanje, I'm coming to Memphis. He was like, I bet. He said, when you hear I'm on the radio from 10 to 1, he said, you can
mm,
just sit in with me the whole entire show. We could talk about the show. We could talk about your book. We could talk about why you're here in Memphis. So I said, all right, okay, cool. So I'm there. We're talking on the radio. He's letting me introduce songs on the radio. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And so I was like, man, I wouldn't mind doing this. And so he was like, yeah, he was like, what kind of show would you do though? If you did have a show, like what would you do? And I knew I was like, I want to do a 90s R&B slow jam show, right? Because I feel like the 90s um R&B scene was like the best, one of the best eras in
mm,
music. And so I was like, yeah, I do a 90s R&B slow jam show. And he was like, okay, cool. He was like, hey, send me some bumps. Send me some, hey, this is Ben Stevens. You listening to the Velvet Lounge. He said, come up with a name for the show and send me some bumps on it. So
Uh,
I sent him some bumps, and he put together like a 2 minute, um it's called an air check, but it's in acting, when you're talking about acting, it's called a sizzle. So he put
mm,
together like a 2 minute sizzle for me. And people started to hear it. People was like, yo, this might work. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, and then my PR, who happened to be in Memphis at the time, her name was Miriam. She was like, yo, if she was like, Kavanje, if your station don't want to do it, I know a station that will put them on. And so we sent the thing to Power 104.1, and they was like, yeah, let's do it.
right.
And then they sent the
Excellent.
same sizzle to the radio station in the UK, and they was like, yeah, let's put them on. And then I'm talking to a radio station in Las Vegas now and Texas.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. And you're right about the 90s. 'Cause there's almost like and this activism around keeping 90s R&B alive, keeping it alive. I've
Right.
interviewed quite a few artists, and because we did this sort of whole show last year, and it was about why do we want to keep R&B alive? And they just talked about what it was like back in the day. It was about nostalgia, it was about real love, it was
Yes.
about, the real nice yumminess about holding someone and having a smooch and having a real dance. It was just all about, and it was about community, unity, being together, all those wonderful things. So when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I like this. And
Yeah.
why the Velvet Lounge? Why the Velvet Lounge?
I don't know. I just thought the
Right.
name I thought the name fit the show, right?
Mm,
Especially if it's we just do slow jams on the
mm,
show. So we do 90s R&B slow jams. So it's not, your fast, R&B. So it's our songs usually come on at night, somewhere around like between 8, 9, 10 at night. Uh,
mm.
Maybe when you driving home from work, it's kind of relaxing. So I just thought the Velvet Lounge kind of just
Sat
fit the
well.
mood of the show.
Nice. I like that. When I saw that, I'm like, ping, ding. And so what else for you now, Ben? Acting, you're
Mhm.
author, you're now what do you call yourself? A radio presenter? What do you guys call
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah, I'm a radio personality now.
Personality, yeah. I know this
Yeah,
makes it slightly different. He's a radio personality on the
yeah,
Velvet
yeah.
Lounge. So what else, Ben? What else is on the cards for you?
I think I'm a we're waiting to see if season 7 gets picked up. We waiting to see if Family Business New Orleans. We'll do some more producing stuff, as far as TV and film is concerned. Um, I'll write some more Curtis books because it's Carl wants me to write a series of Curtis books. So I really enjoy the writing process as far as coming from, something from nothing to something. I've always enjoyed that process. And so and storytelling. And so
That's
we'll write some more Curtis books. Um, Hopefully we can get a Curtis show or Curtis movie, you know.
nice.
And I want to grow the Velvet Lounge brand. We get syndicated more markets, and we're thinking about doing something called the Velvet Lounge Live, which we would do. I don't know if it's kind of like I don't know if you've seen the tiny desk concerts, the
Honey
mini
desk,
concerts.
yes.
We're going to
Yeah.
do something like that, but it'd be in a lounge type setting, and we'll get some of the
The
you know
artist down as
artists and
well.
the R&B 90s. We'll try to bring somebody like Albie Shore back out, or
Oh, wow.
we'll bring SWV, or that music era was just incredible to me.
Yeah, I remember things even like Rough Ends, um,
Yeah, Rough Ends,
Rough Ends, Keith Sweat, so
Troop was a little earlier, but they still kind of fall in that into
genre
that.
at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
Hmm.
brilliant, brilliant. Well, Ben, it's been really, really cool talking to you. One other question, one.
Okay.
In
Mhm.
terms of how do you feel you inspire people? Because as I'm listening to you, you took
Uh,
that intimate, that's like when they went on the moon, one small step for mankind.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
for you. all the steps that you've taken to where you are now and all the great things that you're doing, what is
Mhm.
it that you feel you can inspire people, you would like to inspire people with about your journey?
I feel like I draw on my faith a lot, right? So I'm tell you what I do is I just usually I think it, I speak it, and then I
Mm,
believe it, right? I believe that it's gonna happen.
mm,
So I believe once I put those elements in place, um, I think the Lord will start putting
okay.
people in place to help you fulfill, what that thing is that you want to do. I think sometimes people don't start because they don't see how, they can get it done, right? It may cost a lot of money, or, I don't know, this project is going to cost me a lot. I don't look at it like that, right?
Yes.
I just do it, and it's not my responsibility to get the money, right?
Mm,
I just do what I can do on my end, and I feel like I'm in partnership with God. He does his thing, I do my thing, and it's like a collaboration
yeah.
in a sense. And then he would just start putting people in place and providing provisions for you to make things happen, you know. And so that's how I move, through this industry. I don't think anything is impossible, you
Possible.
know.
Yeah.
I think everything is possible. Um, but I lean on my faith to make things happen. So
And that's
that's what
probably
I would say to someone who is really trying to do something.
mm,
It's just lean on your faith. You know what I mean? Your faith is the thing that activates and get God to move in your life, right? And so if you don't have that, you know, you can't. You got to believe that you can do something.
yeah.
Without the belief, you can't. Nothing will happen for you. So
That's
I
probably
you know
what
what my motto is. I believe like what I carry and say is I may say something so big, and if you don't say Ben is crazy, then I feel I'm not dreaming big enough.
wow. Can I say Ben is crazy then?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I gotta be. If I say something and they say, "Oh, that's cool," and then if they don't go back and say, "Yo, that's crazy," he dreaming. Then I'm not dreaming. I'm not dreaming big enough. Or I'm not thinking big enough. So I
Nice.
want people to say he's crazy when I say stuff.
Yeah, you crazy boy. You make and I believe that's also what's kept you protected in the
Mhm.
industry as well, having that faith and that covering, or they say
Yeah.
that anointing.
Mhm.
Um, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love that. Because something opened up for me today, and it's crazy. It's crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, crazy big. And I've been
Yeah.
walking in faith, and it's bigger than what I realized, but I don't need to realize that. I just need to keep walking in it. So you
Yeah.
just sort of confirmed all of that, and it's a really great way to wind this conversation down. It's an interview, but like to call it a conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking to Ben Stevens. He's just doing so much and so well. I hope you've been being inspired on some level about that one step, that one step. Take that one step and look where he is now. So, Ben, wishing you all the best. Hopefully, I'll meet you one day and just keep stepping. And I'm going to listen a little bit to that Velvet Lounge,
Here you gotta listen to it. It's gonna put you in the mood. It's gonna put you in the mood now.
whatever that mood is. I got my teddy bear right there. So, yeah, we can fall asleep together. Bless you. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for Miriam. She put me in touch with you. So thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
so much, Miriam. And yes, just keep stepping. Keep
yeah.
stepping.
Thank you
Thank
so much. Thank
thank
you.
all right.
Mhm.
Mhm. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click the bell icon for notifications on future videos. Thank you for watching.